Good evening, everybody. I'm trying to get situated, Reagan. I am Sonia Lang. I am the co-president of Orlando Park Community Council. So I would like to call our meeting to order. And so what I want to say is that our meeting minutes are posted on our orlandopark.org website. If you want to catch up on, if you weren't able to attend, you want to go back and read anything, it's there. And then our meeting videos are available on the YouTube channel. And whoops. Okay. So we used to be on Facebook and now we are on YouTube. So we'll have a link. It's on our website and it will also be in the meeting notes, a link to our YouTube. Okay, for the recorded video for our meeting. Okay. So first we're going to start out with dues and memberships, and that would be me. And for as of today, or as of the 14th, we have 76 members and 20 are new members and 56 renewals. And our revenues now are $17.52.10. So we're doing okay. Get in there. All right. So let me move on to our community announcements. First, we'll start with Jen. You're up there, right? I thought I saw you. Yes, I do see Jennifer. Jennifer, we'll start with you. Do you have any updates?
Yeah. John's gonna start.
Sorry, I'm not used to using Zoom. A couple of things to update you about. There appears to be some trees happening on University. As many of you may know of our tree project we've been pushing for the past couple of years. The good news is that we're supposed to get some trees. We're not sure still how many, but we've been continually working with Council District 9, Shawnela Rivera's Representative Roberto. And Groundworks has been very helpful with this project too. We have been told a couple times at the last few Eastern area meetings that we're going to get some trees. We're not sure how many, but we're hoping for somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 along the University corridor from 54th to 70th Street. So there's no timeline or anything like that, but the promise is there. And so we'll keep trying to get more, and we'll let you know what's going on as we get more information about that. We have also been told that the Streamview Drive project continues to move forward, and I believe that the last Eastern area meeting I was told that it was going to start in the neighborhood of somewhere in 2026, the actual construction. Was that about right, Lynn? I think
the end of next year, 2025.
End of 2025 and then into 2026. So that will be really super exciting if it happens. And many of you have been around for a long time know that we fought long and hard for a design that will feature landscaping to make the project look nicer, and that's part of the plan now. Hopefully it stays as part of the plan, and it'll make everyone's life down there much nicer. We recently had there's a new Redwood Village neighborhood watch that started up recently, and they meet the first Monday of every month at Darnall School. It's at 6 p.m. It's been fairly well attended. So for those of you who want to network with people from the neighborhood and maybe help out with some of the neighborhood watch stuff, it's 6 p.m. first Monday of each month at Darnall School. And then Jennifer is sent out to the Redwood Village members of our community council. A reminder that this month is the last month you can, at the end of the month on Halloween, the 31st, is the last day that you can get trees paid for by San Diego Gas and Electric. If you wish to get up to 5 trees per meter, all you need to do is go buy a tree in a 1 gallon, 5 gallon, or 15 gallon bucket, and plant the tree and send the receipt and the picture of the tree in the ground, and San Diego Gas and Electric will give you a rebate on your bill, or I don't know if they send you a check. It's one of the two. So they'll fully credit you for up to 5 trees. If you go to their website, there's a tree program listed there, and they have a couple dozen different types of trees, all of which are appropriate for our climate. Some are probably less appropriate than others, but they'll all grow here. One of the things we're trying to do with both our neighborhoods is to increase the greenery. So take advantage of this. It's for sure cutting off at the end of the month. If you wish to get more information, you would want a direct link. I think that Jennifer was going to put the link in the chat, if that's okay. And pass it around, let other people know. It's pretty easy, and you could go over to City Farmers and buy a tree and and get paid back for it. So I think that's it for our yeah, is there going to be a public comment in this meeting, or?
Yep.
There is. Okay, well, I'll speak at that point, but that's the update from the Redwood Village side of our community. So thank you.
All right, thank you, John. All right, so next is Lynn. And there's questions? Go ahead.
You can get a $25 rebate for a 1 gallon tree, a $35 rebate for a 5 gallon tree, and a $50 rebate for a 15 gallon tree. So, and the website has the certain trees that are eligible, and it's until funds run out.
And that one's for the city, right?
That's through SDG&E.
Ah, okay. So I'll read it again, because I was under the impression that you were able to get the trees paid for, not as long as they were on their list. But thank you for the clarification. If it's just a rebate, then it's less than I thought. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Anything else on that, or any questions? All right, so we're going to move on to Lynn Edwards for our Rolando Park neighborhood updates.
Okay, I have a boatload of events coming up in the next 4 or 5 weeks, so it's going to take a few minutes to work through all these. First, I do want to thank everyone that turned out on September 21st for our Xena Canyon cleanup. We partnered with I Love a Clean San Diego again. This is their post cleanup where you count things. That part's not so much fun. I can tell you that. But we had a good turnout for the work we had to do. We had 15 people there. Sonia and I were there. Roberta was there with Magna. So good turnouts, and thanks everyone. The Xena Canyon looks pretty darn good right now. Oh, I'm stuck. There we go. Okay. So tomorrow night, this is the first event. There is, I think this is the last District 9 candidate forum. This is in Rolando, not Rolando Park. This will be at the UDW Hall. That's the United Domestic Workers Hall. That's the one they use for their meetings. It's a moderated forum. Starts at 6 o'clock. If you have questions, you can send them to the email, and all of these links are going to be on our website. I loaded all of the events on our calendar today. So if you want to go, you can grab the link, but feel free to attend. I think, yeah, this is the last debate, is it not, Roberto?
Was that, sorry?
This is the last debate before the election, do you know? Okay. No, there's one tonight as well. If you didn't see this on our Facebook page or website, the PTA is looking for a few volunteers for their trunk or treat event this Friday. Specifically, they need a couple of people at the slide and just the gate, and just to help out a little bit, because it then frees the parents up so that they can spend a little time with their kids at this event. This is really a lot of fun. I did this a couple of years ago, and we were so short on volunteers, I ran the slide by myself, and I needed a massive glass of wine. Seriously, there were like 100 kids, and they were all cutting in front of each other to get on the slide. It was sort of fun.
Sure, you did great.
Yeah. But if you want to volunteer for that, the email address, again, is the form, or you can send them an email. They'd love to get some help on that. Next Thursday on the 24th, Soap Mat, which is the opioid outpatient clinic that will be opening at Rolando Plaza, is having a grand opening next Thursday from 2:30 to 4:30. It's open to everyone, so if you're inclined, please go by. They will have refreshments. Joyce and I met with more than 20 people from Soap Mat who will be on the advisory board, and that includes Joyce, who is our liaison now between the community and Soap Mat. So if you have any questions, any concerns, you can just email us, and I will get the message to Joyce, and Joyce will see that it gets addressed. Okay. Halfway through now.
Two dates on there.
One is in their Oceanside. Ours is, the one here will be on Thursday, 10/24 from 2:30 to 4:30. Okay. Choice Lake. Next Saturday, they are having a Halloween party. This is also great if you have kids, because they're going to be painting pumpkins. They're actually having a mini archery class where you get to shoot a pumpkin. It's fun, you know, it's close by. So if you have kids, it's great, and meet up at the day camp center over there. That's sort of fun, I think. On November 9th, and I'm mentioning this because we will not be meeting on our regular day in November. This will be our last cleanup on University Avenue. We have one more we'll be doing in December on College Avenue. But we'll meet up at 58th and University for an hour and a half. As always, we have lots of sugar, donuts, caffeine, bad coffee. So meet up with us and spend an hour on the street. And then this is something that I think we have finalized as of today. The Community Council is sponsoring a free vaccine clinic with Champions for Health. They're a county provider. And they will have their big Live Well van here out in the joint use parking lot on November 19th from 1 to 4:30. That's an early day for the kids. So they'll scoot in, we'll set up. They will have all vaccines that kids need up to through all school ages. I'm still getting this squared away. And they will have flu shots for everyone. These are all free. So if you have school kids, we're definitely trying to make sure that everybody in our community knows about the free vaccines and flu shots. They'll be bringing a couple of other services. First Five San Diego, these provide services for kids up to 5 years of age. And then the county is sending staff out to with enrollment specialists to help anyone who needs help getting CalFresh, Medi-Cal, CalWorks. And they'll have social workers and case managers here to help anyone who needs to sign up for any services. Okay. And I think, no, darn, there's one more. This
I'm
one is
sorry,
from Dr.
when?
Akik. Yes,
I'm sorry, where did you say the vaccine clinic was located?
it will be at the, right here at the school. in the joint use parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll have lots of information. We'll have a flyer out pretty soon about it. This one comes from Dr. Akila Weber's office. Every year, like her mom, she sponsors a turkey giveaway. This will be on November 23rd from 10 to 1 p.m. It'll be at Cherokee Point Elementary, that's in City Heights. You will want to register ahead of time. She gives away 1,000 turkeys. And if you read the flyer, you will see they highly recommend that you be prepared to wait in line for a while. It's a long process when you're trying to, corral 1,000 people through there to get a turkey, and they have all the trimmings to go with it.
We don't have to catch the turkey.
No, they're bagged. So, and that is it for that. I do want to push on real quick. Our November meeting, which falls on Veterans Day. So we're going to be meeting the third Monday of November, and it'll be different. The last time we had to do this, it seems to happen about every 4 years. And turnout is not great, but we are telling you ahead of time that's what's going on. So people will still call, people will send a text, and they will show up on the normal night and wonder why we're not here, but we'll try to make sure everyone knows. Here's our favorite one. We have open positions again. We are still looking for a secretary, treasurer, and we would love to have a member at large or two. These are 2-year terms, and you can share these positions. Throughout the time I think we've been on the board for the last 10 years, half of the positions have always been co-shared because it makes it a little easier. You can spell each other. You don't both have to show up, and you can carry the load. The downside is you only get one vote between you.
So hopefully you agree,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So if you don't want to do that, then we want you to consider doing something a little different, and that's joining a committee. Last year, the board approved a Friends of Xena Canyon subcommittee when it looked like we might be getting closer to having the city take over management of Xena Canyon. And so we have some great people, Janet here and some other people who actually, Cheryl and Jim know how to write grants. And so we'd be looking at just someone else to help organize cleanups and keep the canyon manageable and really make it open to the public. So we have some other ideas for committees because we look around and some of our other community councils are doing some of this. Hint, hint. There is an event committee at Rolando Community Council. We've talked before about having a welcome committee because we have an influx of new people coming in the neighborhood. It would be great for someone to reach out and provide them contact information about the community council, the ins and outs, what's cool about Rolando Park or what's cool about living out in this area. It'd be great if someone would take over the community yard sale. We did not have any business people join us this last year, so it was not well attended, and really can't do anything about it without more people to help. And we might also consider a beautification committee or a street steward program. Just as a hint, Rolando Community Council, they have a committee. They organize the cleanups at their park. They clean the catwalks 2 to 3 times a year, and they keep the Redwood Village, Rolando Village sign always spiffy looking. Last month at the Eastern Area Communities Planning Committee, I think we mentioned that we're asked for a recommendation by traffic engineering to turn University Avenue from College to Cartagena into timed 2-hour parking. That passed unanimously. We sent that recommendation back to traffic engineering. So I think that will probably happen over the next few months. It's a good thing for the businesses there. One of the things that we heard from Josh Cummings, our CRO, some of those cars parked there so long, like days at a time, and it's hard for little businesses. They need turnover, and people pull up, they can't park in front of the business. So we think this is a good thing. That's coming. Traffic updates. Someone submitted after our Circulate San Diego walk audit last January. They asked about a stop sign at 69th and Marlowe. As we headed east on Marlowe, We see a lot of traffic during commuting hours. They studied it. It meets the criteria. They will be putting a stop sign in there at the end of October, early November. That's a good thing. One traffic win. And for people who complain, I don't know if you can see this. This is what happens when you put in a request for traffic calming in the city of San Diego. I actually downloaded this from their manual. So you should be very alarmed, but you should also understand why it takes so darn long to get any help on traffic issues here. That's what I said.
Right.
Catching up on a lot of stuff because we didn't do this last month. Over the summer, we asked people to participate in a survey on infrastructure priorities for the planning group. And John and Jennifer, you're online if you want to chime in. These were the priorities that we submitted for Redwood Village. There's a vacant lot at the corner of 60th and University. It was suggested that it could be turned into a mini skate park. Again, sidewalks on streets, same as here, and undergrounding. So we ourselves, our biggest priority, hands down, everyone wanted to see this, was the purchase of Xena Canyon from San Diego Unified and turn it into open space that would be open to the community and the public. Right now it's private property, although sometimes it would be hard to tell. Completion of a sidewalk on the east side of College. We do not have a complete sidewalk from Livingston to University. If you live on College and you need to get down to University, you don't have a safe walking path. That has actually been a planning group priority since 2010. We're in the second phase now. They'll start construction on the second phase. And that will take it, right now they just are almost finished from Livingston to Judy McCarty Way. The next phase will go from Judy McCarty Way to Billman. So that's about 50%. So we're hoping sometime in the next 10 years to get the rest of it finished. And the rest are some sidewalks. Rolando Vista Grande, this crosses over the stormwater drain channel. You have to step out in the street to do that. It's not much fun at 4 o'clock in the afternoon during rush hour traffic. Okay, just some comments about this because it'll tell you what the planning group did. 20% of the comments that we received asked about the undergrounding. And that's sort of significant because they canceled our project about 13 years ago. They were set to do the last 2/3 of Rolando Park and canceled both projects because they needed to reorganize or rethink it, whatever. But those projects were canceled and now the timeline is in the 2030s. We don't know when that'll happen. After the floods, this is not surprising. In January, 57 people at Village Green Apartments lost everything. So it's not surprising that storm drainage and flood control would be on our list as well. Someone asked about traffic calming on Waite Street. I'm sort of sad to tell them that we just had a study done 3 years ago. Traffic engineering will not look at that again every 5 to 7 years. But the 85th percentile was 32 miles an hour. It must be 35 miles per hour to get traffic calming on any street. And their average is 1,300 vehicles a day. But I want to compare that to Aragon, which saw our traffic triple in 10 years. We're at over 3,000 cars a day. So 1,300 doesn't really sound bad.
That's on wait, that's just in the city of San Diego.
Yeah, not the La Mesa side.
La Mesa,
Right, yeah,
up the hill.
right. People asked about, someone mentioned green spaces in Rolando Park. Someone asked for a dog park. These are great ideas, but you're going to have to tell us where we can find that space. We don't have space for a dog park here, and I don't know where we would have green spaces, either one. But again, we need people to participate and just give us these ideas so we can push forward for what our communities want. Overall, the 6 communities in the planning group each submitted, we all submitted roughly about 4 to 5 priorities. But then the planning group itself submitted our priorities, and one of them is that tree canopy that we've been talking about for 2 years on University Avenue. Second one is to try and resolve permanent parking spaces for the College Rolando Library. I've been attending planning group meetings for 7 years. Finding spaces there has been a part of the problem for that long. And the last one, really, we asked the city to review completion of the undergrounding in the eastern area communities. It's not just Rolando Park, Redwood Village has got some, Oak Park, Webster. We all got just a little nibble done, but not all of it. And last, I'm done. The PTA, I posted this on Facebook, and I just want to let you know the PTA is collecting aluminum cans for a fundraiser for all the proceeds go back into events for the kids. It's every Wednesday at drop-off time and pickup time in the joint use parking lot back there. If you have cans to donate and you can't make it, you can email us or contact us. And I'll put you in touch with a volunteer and they'll come and pick it up from you. Oh, one last thing. We're going to play a cool little game. It's called Spin the Wheel of Appreciation for Volunteers. And I'm going to close out. Close that. And open. So we're trying to think of a way. Does everybody see that? So far this year, we've had almost 40 volunteers. Well, we have had 40. I took the board off of this, and Bettina, I'm sorry. Because we do this for fun, sort of. But we want to sort of acknowledge and thank volunteers who show up for cleanups. We have people who put out our sandwich boards for meetings so people know, you know, and just show up. So we're doing this cool little thing called Spin the Wheel. And we have a gift card tonight for whoever's is lucky enough to be on the list. And so I'm going to spin this. And those are all the volunteers on the left. On the right, can't spell either. Ready?
How cool.
Brian, yay! I'll have to find out who Brian is because
It's my husband. Go, Brian.
so I will find Brian. He's got a $25 Visa gift card here. We plan to do this again in January to close out the year, and then we'll do it again in May when we close out our meeting year. So thanks everyone. We do really want to thank everyone who shows up and helps us clean house.
I mean, and it's nice
whatever.
to socialize with your neighbors.
Yep.
It's like getting to know a lot of new people.
Yep.
Go out there too.
That's all I have.
All right.
Good luck.
Well, thank you, Lynn. All right, so I wanted to move on to our public comments on non-agenda items. 2 minutes, please. And I think, John, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say this. It was brought up. There's a large ADU complex that's going to be built on, or that is in the permitting process right now. I think to be built at the end of Boren Street, and we had at the Eastern Area Community Planning Group event this last Tuesday. There were a number of people who spoke about it, and I didn't really know that street, even though I've walked down it. To me, Boren is a different part of Boren Street. So the other day I went over there, and I have to say that as a non-traffic engineer, but just a general person who has a lot of life experience, specifically in driving, I do think that the city absolutely needs to take a look at the traffic situation there. The width of the street is a 1950s street, and I don't think they had accounted for cars on both sides. It is impossible for more than one car to pass each other on that street if your vehicle is bigger than a true compact car. So not saying that that ADU should or should not be built, but I do implore the city to send some traffic engineers out there to either figure out how to widen the street or make one side of the street no parking. That in the event of a fire, it's one way in, one way out. It's a cul-de-sac, and it's on a canyon. If there were a fire there or any kind of emergency and someone were coming out, there's no way a fire truck could make it. There's no way a fire truck could make it down that street, and it's a tragedy waiting to happen. It really is. I think the city, just to cover their own butt, should go over there and make some measurements. And that's all I have to say about that.
Great, thank you, John.
Tina,
Can I just
No.
add a couple things? Thank you, John.
Mhm.
So Channel 8, the neighbors must have rallied the media, and Channel 8 did a good little story on it and interviewed some of the residents, which was great. So more power to them. I hope they keep going. And I lived on that street for about 25 years, and 15 units without providing parking would be an utter disaster for sure. So just backing you up on what you said.
Okay, anybody else have any comments tonight? All right,
Regarding that issue, I think the city, they're trying to say, well, housing, the big need, so all those other considerations probably really of importance. You say, build, we need housing, so that's the main point. They don't care about.
But safety is more important. So to their point, I don't know if that would be considered safe, and you don't sacrifice that for just housing, right? Hi, Zach, I see your hand up.
Hi, I wanted to chime in because I know we've been talking about like a member at large project. And I have been looking into doing some landscaping along the fence and like right around the entrance to Xena Canyon. And my friend Allie, she works with Earth Lab and Groundwork San Diego, and we compared schedules, and she said that they're open to the idea of bringing out the green team to come help us clean up some of the landscaping around that entrance. And that if we put together like a landscape plan with some native plants, that they could also have their landscape architect look over it and offer some suggestions and ideas for how we could kind of beautify that area with a lot of native plants and stuff. Obviously things that require like no water, maybe poppy seeds or something like that, just to really clean up the area. And right now for their schedule, they're looking at like late January or early February is like the first time that like the green team could come out and help with that, which would give us plenty of time for planning if that's something we want to go down with that road. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that and let you know that I am talking to them about it and seeing, where we can kind of go and starting to play with ideas. So yeah, I put the ball back in your court and, let me know how you want to proceed.
All right, thank you, Zach. We
thank you. That
appreciate
sounds
for
great.
Sure,
Yeah.
definitely. All right. Okay, so what we have next is our community representatives. And so 4 minutes, please. But considering we only have 2 people here this time, go over just a smooth bit. So first, we're going to start out with Roberto Marin from our city council president, Sean Elo Rivera.
Cool. Thank you guys for being here. You guys all know me by now. Roberto Marin, community rep for Rolando Park and Redwood Village. I want to touch base on the ADU. It is not approved. That is the big thing. I want to throw that out there. It would be a very different story if it was approved. We'd be in very different. I just want to caution people before we jump the horse on anything. has to go through fire safety code, it has to go through environmental review, it has to go through all these special regulations because it's a specially designated zone. So DSD will be taking all that into consideration, including San Diego Fire, coming in and explaining to them the fire risk, but also the traffic and the engine risk. So that is being included. We've made that ask. They don't have any answers, as you know, so I can't really speak to what that process is. I'm also not a land use expert, so I'm not gonna be like one or the other. I'm gonna let I trust them, and we'll let the experts figure it out. And for whatever reason, when we get to that conclusion, then we'll face it, right? But I think it's very important to highlight that it's not approved. I'll be honest, the story made it seem like it was a done deal. It's not, okay? It is not, it is factual. And I don't want to discredit their argument. They have a total valid point. That is a lot of units on one plot, okay? And it's like this, the slope is very dangerous. So I trust DSD and what they'll do. So that is on that, and the project's ministerial. So that means they're subjected to extra regulations rather than usual ADU that maybe might be built down the street right here. So they are under some scrutiny with that. So I just want to make that clear. Number two, Xena Canyon, SDG&E has been gracious enough to lend the city and San Diego Unified goats to clear out the brush.
Oh, wow.
So out of all things, our team is working on it. Xenia Canyon is on the list. Unified should thank us for that favor of the goats. So brush abatement will be done completely on Xenia Canyon. So with goats, with goats. So yeah. So I don't know how that process is gonna look like, but I know we're getting there. And once we have a kind of a timeline of when the goats will be there and stuff like that, I'll definitely let you know. It's a little funny because I didn't expect that from SDG&E. And then going back onto University Avenue and the trees, as John mentioned, it's 70 right now. I know Lynn has been asking me, and I've been trying to get answer. They're still finalizing the plans. Bear with me, I know you're trying. But there will be 70 trees. Just for folks' context, they were very resistant on planting trees. We had to push, our office kept pushing, we kept pushing, Lynn and the community kept pushing. And thanks to y'all, we went from 10 to 70 that Sandag will be implementing on their own and funding on their own. Now, Groundworks has been given the opportunity to plant more trees on the city right away, which is also great. And those fees have been waived from the city. So it gives them more flexibility on to do that. So we are expecting 70 trees to start off with the project. We'll probably branch out and think of more ideas going there. So kudos to all y'all, kudos to the folks, John and Jennifer, and Bob Scott from Rolando Village. So
I'm sorry, we're just waiting on where they're gonna be located.
yeah, I'm trying to get the like actual construction plans so that way I can share with all y'all. And construction is slated to start in January of this upcoming year. So I've been in touch with Sandag, trying to make sure that we give adequate notice to the community, the impacts, and just kind of limiting it. I'll be honest, there will be traffic. So they're gonna merge it to one lane. So bear with us. But we will stay on it and make sure that there's no inconveniences for everyone. So the last thing I wanted to mention is our budget survey. We're still taking budget requests. As you know, a lot is depending on certain things outside of City Hall that I can't really talk about, but whether that passes or not, we will see how much funding we will have for this next year. I'll share that with Lynn. I do know it says September 20th. You can please ignore that. We're updating that flyer. So it can be year round up until the budget in May. So feel free to still submit. Feel free to keep going in terms of trying to see what the community needs, wants. Obviously, Lynn and I are in contact with that. So yeah, and the last thing, one more. I know I got 4 minutes. I always go over. Hughes Street from basically the section that was undergrounded all the way past Darnell will be repaved January 5th. So that is going to get repaved. They're going to restripe and add crosswalks, and also I think a new stop sign at Darnell Charter. So that is great, and they'll be having ADA compliant ramps. So that is oh, more. I'm sorry. I always say one more. Kanoa, our intern, which she should be here. She's up there. I'll be on vacation, November, as I deserve it, because I've never taken a vacation really, other than. So I'll be on vacation from November 1st to November 16th. So throughout that time, Kanoa, who's on here, Kanoa, can you say hi?
Hi, Kanoa.
Okay,
I see you.
she's doing something. She'll be your point of contact. I'll drop her email, anything get it done related, any issues, feel free to contact Kanoa. And then Ben, my community empowerment director, will also be helping out as well. So we'll put those two contacts.
Right.
And that is it for me. Any questions?
I have a
Yeah.
quick question. So when you're talking about doing the tree canopy
Mhm.
on University, so there's some areas, I mean, if they're gonna do all that construction, there are already areas that are really badly paved.
They're gonna repave. They're gonna repave. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
part of the scope. Yeah, the University Avenue is a nightmare. Trust me, I've driven
Okay.
and I've ran through it every day. So yes.
So that does get addressed a lot.
Correct,
with the-
correct.
Yeah.
They'll do the bike path. It's a large project and I know the community, University Avenue is really bad. So
Right.
we will be getting that. It's just gonna take a little bit of time.
Yeah, patience.
But yeah,
Yeah. Nice.
I noticed a couple weeks ago on Nextdoor, someone from Redwood Village had started a change.org petition to get University Avenue repainted. So I did go in and
okay, yeah.
just let her know it's,
Thank you.
it's coming. It's just gonna be.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
couple of
little,
years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
Right.
Jennifer and.
Right, I see a hand up. Go ahead.
Jennifer, you're muted.
Thank you, Roberto. Turn yours off. You mentioned the stop sign at Darnall. Is
Uh,
it gonna be right in front of the school?
I think so, because there's been a lot of hit and runs from what I understand, and it gets very dangerous with traffic. So I think there's a safety patrol, if I recall, and to support them, they're gonna put that installation so that it's kind of a buffer for them. That's my understanding.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Right, Mia?
Oops. Hi.
Hi.
So my issues and questions relate to the street repairs. It's a two-part question. So, I mean, well, it is without a doubt, the street repairs or the improvements are necessary and will benefit Rolando Park. The amount of dust and debris that's coming from the trucks, I mean, it's just overwhelming, and it's covering our cars, our houses, our solar panels. So there's been some discussions on Nextdoor about the city reimbursing people for their car wash. So is there any truth to that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm always honest in these meetings. That's probably not gonna happen. I'm happy to make the ask for you. The mayor's rep is here as well, Fatima. She can elaborate a little more. I'm just gonna be honest, probably not. I do know from a constituent right here that we were talking, there have been external concerns of construction equipment blocking the, driveway. We have large concrete mounds everywhere. So that is more addressable. I'm not sure if the city's gonna come in and take you to Soapy Joe's and give you a car wash.
Okay.
Not too sure if that's gonna happen. I'm willing to ask for you, but yeah.
Can you ask if they're going to repair the pavers and bricks that they have decided to remove and not let you know that they're gonna do that?
I'm happy to ask the department.
Ask if you can find, because I've already asked some of them if they're gonna let their foreman come talk to me.
Yeah, I'm happy to
So
coordinate
you
that.
can Find that out. Because we just paid to have some nice pavers put in and
Yeah.
it's a pretty big, it's about 6 feet that they took out.
Yeah, happy to get that
And
on
you can
the.
see if you go up and down the streets, a lot of people.
I went before coming here, so
Yeah, so
I'm
you've seen-
very well aware of.
So that would be a nice answer to find,
Yeah,
and it would have been nice if they could have informed us that they were gonna do that, which
yeah.
they did not.
Just so you know, city staff is supposed to give you like a good amount, I think it's 3 days, correct me if I'm wrong, Fatima, but it's a good amount of time that they're supposed to tell you, we're doing a project, we're doing X, Y, and Z. They tell you the hour
They're gonna
before.
Rip up your pavers or your bricks.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, and if they didn't say that and they just did it, that's a problem. So
Oh, yeah.
we'll touch base.
That
One
was
more
the-
last thing. The Rolando Park channel is getting redone again as well. They're working on it this week. So that's the last thing. I had.
Yeah. They're there for 2 weeks, you said, because they were there this morning.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, 2
I think
weeks.
Pete,
Oh, I
Zach
have a
had said they
question too,
counted
like,
6 people.
On the other side of the Launder Channel, you have that weirdo turquoise house thing.
Oh.
That's on, but they park a whole bunch of cars that's right next to where it flooded that one time. It looks like they almost filled stuff in. Have they been looking at that? Cause I don't want to have some other weird old flooding problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DSD is heavily involved.
They're heavily involved.
Lynn and I have been in discussions. They're actually being investigated by the DMV for vehicle fraud and other related charges. So it was something is gonna happen. Just give me patience. I'm sticking to it because Lynn and I've been getting a lot of complaints too, not just you.
Like I suppose it's the dual use that he has his business there as well as his house.
I'm telling you right now, it's not allowed,
It's not
period.
allowed.
It's
Period.
not allowed.
It's a
And
residential.
if you go, if anyone knows, you know exactly.
Mhm.
And what's really nice about the road construction is like, oh, they had to move their cars. Yay.
Well, yeah, but then they're in the backyard.
They're in the
So I
backyard.
already took
They're in
pictures
the
tonight.
backyard and they're along the side, yeah. Of where that.
Well, that
channel-
house got cleaned up,
Yeah.
like all the trees and everything, right?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it just overwhelmed with cars.
Yeah, he was,
He did that on
if you don't
purpose.
know, he was on I think it was CBSA or a different article. He was actually in the college area doing the exact same thing. They evicted him and now he bought this house. So we're trying to figure out how to situate that because he bought the house. It's a lot more complicated, but nevertheless, we're still trying to investigate it and I'm always on every week.
The auto shop guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll let go.
Sorry, guys, but thank you. Thank you, Roberta.
Thanks for.
We want to move on to Fatima.
Hi,
Fatima,
everyone. Pleasure to meet everyone. Thank you for having me. I did want to introduce myself. I am the new community representative for Council Districts 1 and 9 at the mayor's office. Thank you, Roberta, for giving more detailed updates on the community. I did have more updates pertaining to the city and what's been going on. Specifically, I do want to go through 2 things that have happened in District 9 in the past month. So I know y'all have heard me if you've been to the other meetings in the area, the streetlights look back report. I did want to flag that we did have our streetlight crews earlier in District 9 this August through September. They were able to decrease their backlog by 139 case reports. There's still obviously a massive backlog in District 9 in terms of streetlight repairs. They will be coming back to District 9 in January. So please, if there's any outstanding cases in your neighborhood that you'd like to flag for me, please do so. I will leave my contact information in the chat below so that you can go ahead and flag the street location of that street lamp. Or if you have a get it done number, that would also be helpful so that I could go ahead and elevate that to our streetlight crews before they come back into District 9 in January. Additionally, I know lots of conversations on University Avenue and the construction that's currently happening there. And it's a little bit more pertaining to City Heights area, but still, if you tend to travel through that area or you're commuting for some reason there, I did want to note and flag that there is a detour that has been in effect since today. They will be detouring all eastbound traffic on University Avenue towards and southbound on Fairmount towards Dwight Street. Obviously, Whiteman and Landis Street are still going to be open to traffic to flow through, but we are encouraging people to take Dwight Street if you plan to go on University Avenue. That will be a detour that will be in effect for approximately 5 weeks because they will be filling in large trenches that they have alongside the sidewalk, and they'll also be doing pop-outs. So that's going to effectively ensure that pedestrians who are crossing the street along University Avenue are able to do so in a safer manner. So those are the projects that will be going on in the next 5 weeks. Again, we've done extensive outreach and work with ECP and the contractors to make sure that all the community has been updated on that. And again, all the businesses are open, so please go support them. The fencing will be coming down on Monday, so hopefully we'll be able to see them a lot more visibly. But those are the updates on University Avenue. In terms of homelessness, I know that's a really huge hot topic all throughout the city. I did want to flag that in lieu of the 3 shelters that will be closing down at the end of the year, 2 specifically at the end of this year and then 1 in the coming year, the Homelessness Strategy Solutions Department in collaboration with the council districts, got to work on a short-term action plan to address these shelter closings. So we were able to get an expansion of the safe sleeping and safe parking programs. So we're going to be seeing an expansion of 53 new spaces at the 20th and B lot, and then an expansion of 181 new spaces at the O lot, in addition to 200 new spots at the H Barracks location in Point Loma for safe parking. So that's going to help a lot with the VHO and the OVO enforcement that we desperately need in the city, giving SDPD a little bit more ability and capacity to enforce those regulations and rules. So hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more work in that. Obviously, this is a short-term action plan. We will be coming back to council with a more medium-term and long-term solution to homelessness. Obviously, these are just in lieu of the shelters that are closing down in the coming year. So those are my reports for right now. If you have any questions or concerns that you'd like to flag for me, please don't ever hesitate to contact me. Like I said, I'll be leaving my information in the chat below. And I'd also be willing to meet anyone with one-on-one if you'd like to talk more in extensive regarding the issues and concerns you have in your community.
Anybody have any questions?
Tina has her hand up.
Hi, Fatima. Thank you. I was just wondering about the closing of the shelters and the safe parking or the safe sleeping program in lieu of that. What about the winter shelter? Does any of this affect having a winter shelter like we normally do? Or will we not have one this year?
I'm not aware of the winter shelter. I can go ahead and follow up with you. If you want to go ahead and give me your contact information, I can go ahead and double check with our policy team to see what their if they have any updates on that. I personally, I haven't heard of anything of that yet. So I'll go ahead and double check with them, and I'll go ahead and provide that information for you. The expansion of these programs wouldn't be in lieu of any past program that we had existing in terms of if we have a winter shelter. This is in lieu of those 3 specific shelters that are closing down that have been open in the past, all throughout different seasons. But I'll go ahead and double check with our team to see if there's any talkings or plans of having a winter shelter instead.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think I have one more question before we move on.
I was gonna ask about whether or not that your particular office with the mayor has anything to do with sheriffs removing people when they're given an order to physically remove people that or from a place that maybe has been condemned or something along those lines. There's this huge backlog, and I was just wondering, would you know anything about that, or is there somebody else that I can talk to about that? We have a situation that, but
Yeah, so the sheriff's office is specifically they're overseen by the county, not necessarily us. What do you mean, folks? Are you talking about an encampment or what exactly are you
no,
referring
this
to?
is actually at a place like a unit in a townhouse community that was condemned, and it's been weeks. We're still waiting for them to be removed. And
so this like a squatters.
yes, was the squatters, and PACE was the program that put these people into the home to try to get them off the street.
Yeah.
And then it failed after a certain amount of time. And then now with the mold and everything that's gone on inside the unit, it was condemned. But we're still waiting to have these, and they set up a tent on their patio to allow people to come in and sleep on their very teeny tiny patio in this community. There's a lot going on. I don't want to keep it going, but I just thought maybe you might have a way of connection.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and do you have the address of that location so I could go ahead and look into it to see what's specifically going on?
Yes, it's 3962 60th Street. I believe that's it. Danny, if you're there, pipe up. He's probably, well, anyway, a unit.
3926 60th Street.
Sorry, thank you.
All right.
3926?
3926 60th Street,
Okay.
unit 179.
Okay, perfect. I'll go ahead and look into it with our team to see if they have any information on that. And then I'm sorry, I didn't grab your name, whoever was speaking in the
My name is Renee Jones.
Renee Jones. Okay, perfect. Do you have a phone number or email contact that I can go ahead and grab?
Yes, area code 619-203-2600.
Okay.
Alright.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Fatima. Okay, so we're a little bit behind, but I think we can get through. We're gonna go ahead and get started on our program, and so I'm gonna read this little thing. So it's gonna be about Get It Done with the Get It Done app. And so there's, let's say, a recent report, of course, my phone. I pulled it up. Oh, yeah, but I wanted to read this part. A recent report from the city auditor shows that many common issues like potholes and underreported and not reported at all, and therefore not getting fixed. We review making a report with the Get It Done app, getting help following up on unfixed overdue issues, and other available resources to report and resolve issues in our community and the city. So anybody here doesn't know Get It Done? Yeah, well, good.
I have a better question. How many people actually
Use
have
it.
Get It Done on their phone or use it regularly?
Starting.
Alright. Do I see hands up there too? All right, good,
very
good. Okay,
Great.
so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through a presentation to give you some like basic information on Get It Done. And then we're gonna have Roberto do some speaking on it. Okay. All right, so generally, I mean, this presentation will be what is Get It Done, how to use Get It Done, what to expect, and how to share with others. Okay. And so generally, see that up there. So where to get It Done? It's an app, so you can go to your store, whether it be iPhone store, Google store, whichever, and download the app, or you can access it through the website, which is here, noted here. And we'll place this presentation on our website so you can access the information. Okay, so when to use Get It Done? So use Get It Done to report non-emergency items only. So we've seen several times where people go, I had something that you would normally call 911 or something to that extent that they were going to Get It Done. And that's not a item you want to use for any emergency items. So non-emergency only. It's not for immediate time sensitive issues, as I noted. Water related emergencies, police non-emergencies, SDG&E, freeway travel hazards. So these are the contexts for that sort of thing. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, so make a report to Get It Done, mobile app. As most people know, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so you issue a report, and it's best to always take a picture from a distance back so that it can see the whole kind of reference to where your issue is. Okay, and you can take, I believe, up to 3 pictures and load them up. Okay, and then you'll go through and select the category in which you're placing the issue on, map it as close as you can. A lot of the times, if you have your location on, it knows where you're located. So that would be a good way to figure that out. Okay, and then you confirm all your information and you submit it. So it's pretty simple. You can also see if you've seen yours have been submitted and what sort of response you have to that same issue. So you can look at recents, you can look at ones that have been closed, and then you can also keep track of the ones that were submitted by you. You can do that through filtering and exploring through a map also. Okay. Explore Get It Done webpage. Okay, so you can review reports in a list view and a map view. There's articles, so you can go extensive with the Get It Done. Download and share outreach material and explore frequently asked questions from our knowledge base. Okay. Tips for using Get It Done. And so it's best to do one problem per report. Don't put multiple things that you're trying to address. It doesn't take long, so one at a time. Okay.
It doesn't take long.
Putting in the different reports. So say you see a. Right, I know where you're going with that, right? So actually putting in the report itself, you see a car parked and then right here on your street, and then you have like somebody left their trash can out. You want to do two different ones for that, to try to squeeze it all in. As I said before, it's always very helpful to provide a photo. So when they come to the area, they can go right to it. They're not trying to find where the issue is. And you can also make sure you're accurate with the location from the map so they can easily find it. Be very descriptive as much as you can. I mean, I give them all the cross streets. I say next to this house and, all that. So they can go right to it and there's no excuse, I couldn't find it, right? So make sure you give them very good descriptions. And as I said, provide additional location details and description. And they give you quite a bit of space to type a lot of information in. Okay. Okay, what to expect after you submit the report. Allow time for the report to be addressed, right? They'll drop it in there and some of it's they'll kind of say that they've opened it and read it, and sometimes it could take a long time. So what you were probably referring to, that some of these things can take a long time, but you have access to go check the status. You also have phone numbers on occasion that you can call to see what's going on, right? But you have access to your reports and who it's been given to, right? As far as what division or support that handles that particular type of thing. Right. It says you have customer communications and share your opinions in there. Okay, so then the life cycle, as we were speaking, so you have a new, then in process, and then it's closed, right? And that's for things that they address, right? Such as Caltrans, SDG&E, MTS, right? But internal city departments are not on Get It Done. So it will be referred. So I've had a situation where they don't handle it and then they refer it to the people who handle it, but then they're not going to track it and do all that with it. Okay, and use Get It Done in Spanish. So you have that option. If you need to do that in Spanish, you can text in Spanish and it will be displayed in that manner. Bookmark your trash collection schedule. So I know sometimes people lose the little schedule that comes with at the beginning of the year. So you can also access it through Get It Done. It shows that you can actually bookmark it. And so then when the holidays come, you're clear on which days the holidays it will refer to and when your recycling is and so forth. Okay. And that would be it. So share Get It Done with your neighbors. Okay. Outreach material available on the website. Okay. Thank you. And Roberto's going to do some informative things for Get It Done.
Yeah, thank you. Love Get It Done. Not all the times. But it is our best tool that we have right now. There's municipalities and local jurisdictions that don't have any form. As a matter of, give you a quick story, like 30 seconds. My grandpa lives in Sebring, Florida. If they've got a pothole, he's got to go to the city building and file it there. So it could be a lot worse, okay, guys? It could be a lot worse. You could go to CAB and I could see you every day. Okay, but the purpose is that is our tool. It's not perfect. I'll be the first to say that. There's a lot of improvements that need to be done. But that is what the city uses in terms of data. As mentioned, there was a recent city audit report that, no shocker, right? East of the 8, a lot of underreported things. Infrastructure was not good, right? If we go to Southeastern and those areas, it gets a lot worse, right? And that's not because people aren't complaining, it's because people aren't reporting, right? They're saying, well, I don't want to use it, Get It Done, it doesn't help, right? that data gets collected, and that's actually what the decisions are being made at the city, right? So if, for example, if La Jolla is reporting 500 get it done in a month and Rolando Park's only got 50, doesn't, common sense, who are they gonna pay attention to, right? La Jolla, right? And that's not because they don't care about Rolando Park, it's because of the data itself, right? So it's super important to fly, even if you think it's, you know, I don't know if it's an encampment or not, like still report it. Another thing that I tell folks tips, for example, you mentioned your construction issues, right? That is not a get it done, right? You see someone like running around, like hitting doors or whatever. That's not a get it done, right? That is a 911 call, depending on the severity, a non-emergency. For the construction, that is a constituent inquiry that can go through our office. So make sure that you can distinguish that, right? Another thing too that I tell folks is if it's MTS, SDG&E or anything like that, we have a good relationship with them. We're happy to coordinate with them and get you information through there. So I've had someone, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious about, if it doesn't have the capacity to get it done, because you're saying, people are complaining. And there's an extremely long time in terms of response. So if people actually report it, they just don't have the capacity to meet the needs of the constituents in the city. So
From what I understand, they do. It's just a matter of like where it's getting reported, right? And
then the ones that were reported would be much more efficient.
there again, to get it done is an ever evolving thing. It's not perfect, but I take the time every Friday out of my time from 9 to around like 11, and I'll just drive around the Park, for example, Redwood Village, and I'll do the get it done reports on your behalf. For example, like if you're like, you know what, I don't feel safe going up to this encampment or whatever, right? Can you report it? I'm happy to do that. As long as you let me know, like I'll do that for y'all, right? That's what, at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. And if that makes you uncomfortable, or if you're like, you know what, I don't know what this is, can you just come out and look at it? I'm happy to do that as a resource. So that is another thing that I do, is that I understand like folks have that reservation, and I'm happy to do it on my own and flag it after that. So another thing to consider is the time frame, right? I think right now for potholes, it's like 20 days, 15, 20 days, if give or take, right? If it's something super serious, like concrete is flying out and like it's a hazard, let us know. We will bypass that and go through staff. We don't need to wait for an accident or anything like that. There's been numerous times where the street's been terrible and I just bypass, get it done to go to that. It depends on the severity of what it is, right? If it's an encampment, that's really bad. That was one on 60th and Rock Place, right? That is not gonna wait. That needs to get abated immediately, and we make that ask to MPD, right? So just because you report it and you're just like, well, okay, I'm gonna just let it go, right? Doesn't mean that like you have to wait. In certain instances you do, but in other instances, if it's affecting, you know, public property, your life, the well-being of the community, that's when you come to our office and say, hey, I submitted to get it done, but this cannot wait 2 weeks. There's people doing drugs, there's people like doing all sorts of stuff in this encampment, right? That's when we come in and fill the void, and Officer Cummings would probably say the same thing. The number one thing as well, it's not get it done related, but it kind of is. People have a tendency of doing like get it done for like someone like the baseball bat hitting a tree, right? Like that is not a get it done. That is a non-emergency, or depending on if it's like the person swinging at me, right, or someone, right? That is the 911 call, right? What is happening is that also people aren't calling in. We know that, and you know there's the capacity like you mentioned. But if no one calls in, police department doesn't know like what to do or where to go, right? And the argument could be made that, well, we don't have enough officers. Look, I get that. But if you don't call and there's no incident number, that's another important thing. When you call a non-emergency or emergency, you always get an incident number, report number. That way, when say like someone's blasting fireworks, which I know is somewhat common here, right? And you call and you have that incident number, Josh, your CRO can then follow up because you have proof that you called. You have proof that it actually, like the event occurred, right? A lot of people don't do that. So when you go to the CRO or PD, they're like, well, do you have an incident number? No. Well,
Never been given an incident.
Well, I'm telling you, yeah, you can ask for one, correct, and I would encourage you. It's just I would say it's just like a check and balance. That way you know, like, hey, this event existed. I've had too many times where, oh yeah, we called and then I didn't get an incident number. And then, you know, we're like, well, PD's like, well, I can't follow up. Like, did this happen? Did this not happen? So always ask for an incident number. Well, you have to ask for it. They don't automatically give it. You have to ask. You have to specifically ask, hey, thank you so much, but can I have an incident number? There is an incident number. I've done it various times and they give it out, but they don't proactively ask you. You have to ask. Yes. So it is very convoluted and it's complicated, but those are the tips that I would give you guys, and feel free to use me as a resource. I love doing get it done reports. I'd probably go home right now. I'm probably gonna fill out a get it done report on the street light, right? So utilize it. I know it doesn't, like, I know it's not the best thing. Trust me, I know it's not, but that's what we do. And on top of that, when we inquire into departments, they actually require a get it done report. We don't have one. It's a little more trickier. I kind of like say, like, can you make an exception? Because it's kind of it's a bigger issue, right? But they actually do require a get it done report. So every time you come to me with a report, I take that to staff.
Is there a way to undo a report or say I don't need it anymore, or it's done, and or?
I don't know of a feature, but
You can, some reports
Yes.
you can cancel.
like parking enforcement,
Parking enforcement.
they send you a text and says, if the car's not here, please let us know through this link or cancel your request.
Yeah.
That is something that we proactively have asked, because sometimes like stuff does get resolved and it's kind of sitting in the queue, and like you mentioned, right? We got 10 items that already were resolved, but they're not closed on the get it done report, right? Then there's a backlog, which then makes the explanation of why. And also people not reporting the right thing, right? It's like if I reported a like construction dust or whatever, that's not a really get it done report, but that sits in the system, right? So then that creates, there's a trend. You see where I'm going?
They have to follow up, and if it's, you know, they
Yeah.
finally get around to following up.
And then it's nothing, and then
Yeah.
it's kind of like a wasted thing, right? So just be cognizant and mindset. Like if you even are like, Robert, I don't know what is get it done, or like if this qualifies, just shoot me a text or an email saying, hey, does this qualify? I'll tell you yes or no, and then we just go from there.
Almost everything, if you don't know, go to other at the end
Yes.
and file it under other.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because a lot of those categories can guide you into the types of things. I mean, just skim through the categories and that'll help you guide you on which ones you're gonna submit in there, which ones make sense.
And
right?
it's a good emphasis. Caltrans, MTS, and SDG&E. At least for SDG&E and MTS, we get really good responses. They're very quick. Caltrans, like, not so much. I can't talk about them because yeah. But MTS and stuff like that, they do respond. They're actually out here this week clearing the bus benches and clearing the weeds and trash from the bus routes. So we do have a communication. So if you're like, I know a couple constituents in Rolando Village that told me that College Avenue was looking a little rough. You know, I can make that request to MTS to clean up that portion and stuff like that.
So there will be a question. Is it worth having multiple people? Is it true the more that you put in for one thing, the faster the response?
Fatima can help me on this one because I've heard two different things. Fatima, I don't know if you want to help me on this.
From my understanding, what really triggers staff to go out there, and again, this is what I've heard in the time that I've been there, the more reports that we get out there, it alerts to them the urgency and the need to be there. I know at least in District 9, and I've spoken, and this is more in terms of homelessness encampments and the need to abate those locations. It alerts our neighborhood policing division and our environmental services department to be aware of those locations that are hotspots. I know locations that are now considered, okay, we have to be there frequently. We have to visit those locations frequently because we've seen an influx of get it done reports that have been there. I know the city also uses get it done report as data to support whether or not they're going to put signage in certain locations, whether or not they're going to put a certain traffic measure. They really look to this data as one of their indicators as to whether or not they're going to move forward or proceed with a certain policy or initiative. So I highly encourage you that it is far more than just you seeing that temporary solution. Know that it is working towards that. Your One Get It Done report is working towards a longer term solution that the city is trying to create. So I know it's frustrating to have to keep putting in that Get It Done report, especially when it's a reoccurring issue. But know that when we get enough feedback from community, that is one of the first places that they go to look at to see whether or not what the community is telling us is really is reflected in the Get It Done reports.
Can I just interject a little bit? The one place where I've heard that we should only file one report, and that's for homeless encampments, because there's a single person in neighborhood policing that has to review every single report. And so what he's looking for are duplicates. So we're essentially tying up one person's time when a single report for a homeless encampment will work. And those are reports that I've been able to cancel if the encampment moves. I will just email neighborhood policing and give them the incident number and say they've gone. And I usually get a response thanking me, but they send environmental services out to clean the encampments.
Yeah, and again, like what Fatima mentioned, she and our office, mayor's office and our office have a hotspot. So we've got 60th and Rock Place, we've got Bonian University on there, we've got Choice Parkway, right? So we are proactively going to those areas regardless of Get It Done. Like we're like going there consistently to make sure that that area is clean. So again, just emphasizing that one problem, if it's serious, does not need to wait. You can come to us and we can kind of be like, okay, let's guide us through the process. Okay,
Danny?
Just tacking on to that, I've been keeping an eye on or spreading the word on closing out tickets if the problem resolves itself before there's a chance for someone to come and check it out formally. Doesn't seem to be a way to do it on the app, but if you file a report, you usually get an email, and you can reply directly to that email, or you can email trash@sandiego.gov. And then, I think it would be great in the future somehow to figure out a way to delete it on the app just for efficiency's sake.
Yeah, and the last thing, because I know we're short on time, is we're going to be putting together a kind of like a smart like link list for city services. So like showing you like what the map of CIP is, what traffic service request is. So that way it's on one document and you literally just click the link and that's it. So I know our team is working on that interactive map. That way it's easy for the community to just look at one sheet instead of you Googling, going through a website and then the website crashes or whatever. So we want to make it very simple for y'all. So I'll share that out when we have it.
Okay.
Okay, any questions?
Chris Reel?
Hi, yeah, along those issues, where I live here at the Village Green, we've had numerous homeless people in the back. So I've done a Get It Done app as well. Also let Wakeland know, so they might follow up with you. So in that case, if we don't want to be duplicate or reporting, then we should check to see if our area, if there's been reports on the same issue. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. And you can flag that for me too. That's a hotspot.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we hope nobody's discouraged by putting in the Get It Done. I know, like I say, you did not see a response, but even in that case, they take that data. So let's hope that that data can make a difference.
I'm discouraged. I turned in a report for overgrown vegetation and it's going to take 460.
It's gonna be a forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Well, that's, yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's DG.
Well, I also last year I did find something that's sort of weird because we got a report, Get It Done on one of our banners, which was broken on University Avenue.
Oh, wow.
I was waiting, we wait till the county fair people come through because it's less expensive to have the installer do it then. And so I get it done and we got it fixed. there's no way for me to close to get it done now. I'm just the outside referral and there's no way to close it.
Right, and those
So-
are those scenarios where
Yeah.
that wasn't the place for it, but hey, they let you know that they referred it to this
Yeah.
person. Hopefully you'll see a fix,
Mhm.
so. Anything else?
That was a good report. Thank you.
Good, good. All right, well, even though we started a little late, we're done a little bit early. So, we'll see you all next month,
November
third
18th.
Monday.
Third Monday.
Third Monday next month.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Question.
Have a good evening.
Fatima, did you?
Yeah, this is just for you, Lynn. I was wondering if you could share the presentation that you were showing us earlier when you were going over your community report.
Yes,
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Guys, have a good evening.
You put together the.
Thanks, Olivia.
It was, we
That was the city
already,
that put that.
yeah, city put it together. and we got it.
We've had in our neighborhood.
Thanks, Olivia. Nice of you to join us tonight.
Yeah, thanks,
Yes, it
Lynn.
will
Thanks
be
for sharing the
on the
PTA
3rd.
information.
November 3rd.
Yes, I will always share. Did you get the one that I sent about the turkey giveaway?
Yeah, and I was kind of waiting for our events to go through, but then I just realized that link, they want reservations ahead of time, so I probably should post it sooner than later.
Yeah, because they should register as soon as possible. They're only going to give away 1,000. So the first 1,000 people who register will stand in line for several hours, but they do get a free turkey.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I kind of wanted to mention the Get It Done app. I don't have it myself, but you know, we can talk about accessibility and access to that, right?
Yeah. And also we might consider, I did this when we were in District 4 a couple of times with the city count, our office, we did a Get It Done day for the district where we went out in our communities and we just drove and walked around for an hour and they just finished one in District 4 last month and they filed 400 Get It Dones in a 2-day period. So
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the neighbors in our neighborhood that are older in age and might not have the tech savviness to access. I mean, that alone is kind of a. There's people that want to report.
bar.
yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly how we would want to do something like that. So
Yeah.
reach out to everybody.
Exactly.
Okay.
Have a good night.
I want to talk to you about the gate before our next meeting. too.
Yes, we'll have to like do a workaround on your meeting nights
Okay.
for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Thanks, everyone.